Welcome to the Business Blast podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner. This episode is brought to you by Authors Unite. Authors Unite provides you with all the resources you need to become a successful author. You can learn more about Authors Unite and join the free community at authorsunite.com. Now, let's jump into the episode. All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Business Blast podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner, and today I have Jonathan Bright with us. He is a director of finance and a former Gamecock, which I also am a Gamecock. So happy to have you on, brother, and welcome to the show.
Happy to be here, man.
Awesome. Happy to have you on, as I previously said, and we will dive in. The first question I have for you, Jonathan, is what is the best story from your life that has an underlying valuable message?
Best story from my life. I don't know if this is the best story, but this definitely taught me a lot. Basically, the company I work for is called Spectre Venue Management. And so when I was at Carolina, I was an accounting intern at the Colonial Life Arena. And, at that time we were, our contract was basically up with the university. This was like 2015, around April. And so, I was about to be out for a job. And so basically, those positions that they were going to fill, they were, I guess the offices were like, they put online, for people to apply for. And so, one of the positions was a staff accountant. And, I was like, oh, okay, I could do this. I've been working here for like, a few years. I can handle that. And so I'm applying for this position, but I'm not getting, the feedback that I wanted. And I'm like, yo, what's going on? I know I'm qualified for this. So I actually go to the people from the offices, schedule a meeting. I'm talking to them. I'm like, yo, why am I not, qualified for this position? And so I applied once before, and then I applied a second time. My director basically, gave me pointers on my resume and how to change it and all that good stuff. And so after doing all that, the person I was interviewing with, the person that I was talking to was basically like, she got real apprehensive. She was like, you changed your resume. You shouldn't be doing that, blah, 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 this, that, and the third. And I felt really bad about it. But basically being denied that opportunity allowed me to accept another job offer in Tallahassee, Florida, which basically resulted in me getting this director of finance position in Georgia. So basically, the message taught me just to stay patient and to have faith in what's to come, because you never know what can happen in the future.
Yes. And what is the most valuable piece of information we should know that is within your expertise, or industry?
This may sound a little cliche, but in this industry of venue management, you have to know how to communicate. Communication is key. Our buildings have they have multiple departments, ranging from sales to marketing, finance, food and beverage, box office and ticketing. And basically all those departments have to work together in a certain synergy, in order to create and provide those memorable events and experiences to their clients. If food and beverage has like a promotion that they want to do, basically, pertaining to box office, like if you get this many tickets, then you get a free drink. If they don't communicate that properly with box office, nobody's gonna, they're not gonna know what's going on. And then on top of that, box office has to communicate with finance, but they know how to account for all of that. It's like a big triangle. So basically, the biggest part of our industry is basically communication.
And what's your best piece of overall business advice, so not necessarily industry specific?
Best piece of overall business advice, I would say, hard work trumps genius every time, I guess. I've always been described as a hard worker. Even when I was a kid, I remember my first grade teacher, he put on my report card, Jonathan is a very hard worker, blah, 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 blah. My mom was like, he's just a hard worker. What does he mean by that? It's not, just to downplay, my smarts and all, because, I feel like I'm a pretty intelligent dude. But, what I'm trying to say is, you can know everything about something, but if you aren't applying yourself or pushing yourself as hard as you can, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day.
And if you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that be?
I would say just be patient. Don't worry so much about the little things, because those little things won't even matter that much later down the line. Everything's going to come together in due time. And when it does, it'll be beautiful, especially if you truly believe that it will turn out that way.
And in your opinion, what is the key to happiness?
I feel like the key to happiness is just being happy with yourself. And by being happy with yourself, I mean knowing yourself and what you truly embody as a person. You got to go with your gut and how you feel. I feel a lot of people tend to ignore those feelings and, they end up living unfulfilling lives, and that's why they end up unhappy at the end of the day. I feel like happiness is also dependent on being thankful for the life that you live and, cherishing every moment of it. Just doing your best to find the good out of every experience, whether it's good or bad. I feel like if you do that, then happiness will have no choice but to knock at your front door.
Yeah. And what is the best book that you've read, and what's the number one thing you learned from that?
Best book that I've read, I just read this book recently. I thought it was pretty awesome. It's called The Alchemist. It's by Paulo Coelho. I don't know if I said that right, but basically, like the brief synopsis, it's like a young shepherd. He sets out on this journey that he's predestined to have. He's basically in search of his treasure, which is basically his purpose. And along his journey, he meets a lot of different people and experiences a lot of different things that teach him to trust in the universe and basically pay attention to the symbols and omens around him that will lead him to where he ultimately needed to go. The most valuable thing I took out of this book was a quote. And basically, it was like along the lines of, you enjoy the wonders of the world, but also make sure you keep, basically enjoy the wonders of the world, but also make sure to keep sight of the oil in your spoon. Basically, meaning during your lifetime, enjoy the places, people, and things that you experience during your journey, but also make sure that you don't become so entrenched in those experiences that you lose sight of your true purpose, i.e. the oil in the spoon. So I feel like that was pretty awesome book.
And what is your favorite quote and why?
Favorite quote, I have this, plastered on my wall. It's basically like an ancient quote. It says, "Find the world within yourself. Don't look for yourself within the world, for that would be to project your own illusion." And basically, that means, in this world we live in, I feel like it's a product of a lot of groupthink. Society thinks that we should all, go to Kalamazoo and jump off of a bridge. Then 95% of the society will think that it's okay and expected for all of us to go to Kalamazoo and jump off of a bridge. Society's projecting the illusion of what it thinks you should do. If you know the world within yourself, then you can make the conscious decision on your own on whether or not you feel like it's beneficial to jump off that bridge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, so I enjoy that quote because I feel like it's definitely important to know the world within yourself so that you stay true to yourself and what you believe in.
Yes, man. Thank you so much for coming on. The last question I have for you before we let you go is, where's the best place for people to find you online?
People, you can find me online on LinkedIn, Jonathan Bright Jr. I also write, that I feel like that's, my true purpose. I got a writing Instagram page. It's at that guy who wrote, ThatGuyWhowrote. I also wrote a book. You can get it on www.brightsbooks.com. That's BRIGHTSBOOKS.com. Like Tupac said, I ain't hard to find, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate it.
Hey, I thank you for having me, Tyler.
The podcast you just heard was recorded with Anchor. If you want to make your own, download the Android or iOS app completely free from anchor.fm/podcast. That's anchor.fm/podcast.